Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. It is Saturday and a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. Why would I be sitting here on a Saturday night chatting with you all? Because I have not given you an AMA yet, and I want to try to give an AMA every single week because you guys like ask me all types of odd questions that somehow I seem to answer. I don't know. I have an issue. I like to answer these questions, I guess. I have problems, but it doesn't matter. The issue is I am here. It is an AMA, and I do want to start as you might wonder, why am I starting with this one? This was an interesting topic, and it's the Luigi Mangione case, the guy who allegedly, until he's proven guilty, or if he's proven guilty, the guy who allegedly killed the healthcare CEO. Why would I be concerned about this one? Why would I pick this as a way to start an AMA? Well, because, I do a lot of consulting when it comes to criminal defense. Just sadly lost the case. An innocent man will be going to jail, which drives me crazy, but that will be happening. And I've noticed how the system very often attacks people and is unfair. Will it be unfair to Luigi? I might say, Larry, are you saying that you just want, guilty people to get off? No, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I would like everyone to have a fair trial. And the reality of it is the vast majority of people, and I mean like 99.9 repeating percent of people who are guilty are convicted. That's just a fact of life. The vast majority who are guilty are convicted. The question is, did they get a fair trial? And more importantly for me, did they also get fair sentencing? Right? That's the piece that matters to me. You see it all the time. People who do something and then get 45,000 years when they should get like 3 years or something, right? That's the thing I'm talking about. A perfect example of that was, of course, the most recent issue of Ross Ulbricht, who got two life sentences plus 40 years, whatever that was, 4 life sentences plus 20 years, whatever that thing was, right? Utterly unfair sentencing, not even close, right? That's the kind of thing I'm concerned about. My worry here with Luigi is that because of politics, he will either get off completely or get death penalty, assuming he did it, right? And it does look like he did, but you never know, right? Government lies all the time. It is possible to lie. It's possible, but it doesn't look good for him is all I'm saying. So I'm assuming that he's going to go down, but he might not. But the issues I have are several fold. Is it going to be fair? Will his sentencing be fair? And the issues I want to bring up was some of the issues that this guy over at Status Coup, if you have to know Status Coup, Jordan, I don't know how to say that. Is it Sheridan? I don't know how you say his last name. But I want to bring him in to kind of show you kind of what he was talking about in a couple minutes. So you'll see what I mean and why I think this matters. And again, this is a AMA. I will take other questions outside. It's going to start it up so we have something to talk about. So this is him chatting about this actual issue.
Mangione, the alleged shooter of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, has broken his silence, and he is thanking supporters for their support, which he says he is overwhelmed and grateful for. This was on a new website for his criminal defense that was
there. He's actually raising like a whole lot of money, and that's an issue too. To be fair, look, I'm not mad at the kid for raising money. Raise money, I get it. But think about how many people need that money far more than him and his relatively wealthy family are to defend themselves. This guy's getting a bunch of cash. Again, not mad at him for it. If I was him, I'd do the same thing, right? I'm not going to sit there and act like I wouldn't be doing the same thing. I'd be doing exactly the same thing. All I'm saying is, again, is it fair that this kid, whose family is pretty well off, that they're getting $250,000 or more, and then some guy who needs some help can't get anything?
Is created. Let me read this to you. There is other news related to his case, but this is the first time he has spoken from jail publicly.
Actually,
this
I'm not
is
that
Luigi
concerned about
Mangione,
that.
legal
I wanna
defense
move on with some of the
information.
details.
The URL is Luigi Mangione. Now, I think his best defense is not insanity or anything like that, but putting the predatory for-profit health insurance industry
Now, here's the part that I want to bring up. He doesn't get to decide that. What? Yeah, he doesn't. Most of you believe, and I know you do, that, well, his team will come up with the right defense. That's not how that works. The judge decides if he can have a certain type of defense. That's correct. That's our system. I wonder why they convict everybody, because the system's made to convict you. If the judge deems that he cannot say self-defense, then he cannot. Why? Because the judge deems so. What if he were to say self-defense? I'm not saying that is a good defense at all for him. But what if he says, I think it's self-defense because that guy was going to get me with his policies? I think it's a terrible idea. But if he does it, shouldn't he be able to? Shouldn't I be able to defend myself as I see fit? No. The judge will decide whether or not he can use a defense. I'm not joking. What if he wants to say, well, I'm going to put it's not me on trial, it is the healthcare system on trial. The judge can say, no, you're not allowed to put any of that in. You can't bring any of that in. You can't talk about it. Yes. The judge in the Dexter Taylor case, you can't bring the Second Amendment into this case. Why? Because the judge said so. That's the reason. That's how our system works. Now, why would they want federal charges? Because the federal is even worse. In the federal case, you don't get to pick your jury. You can't pick. The judge picks the jury. So if you think, well, I want a jury of my peers, young men and women who might be mad at this system, the judge will go, nope, I'll pick them. Nope, I'll pick them, and I'll put 45 executives on it or whatever. The judge will pick. I'm not even joking. I wish I was making this up. I'm not. These are the issues that most people don't know. He doesn't choose that stuff. The judge decides. The judge decides what defense he can take. The judge decides, if it goes federal, what jury it is. The judge decides that. That's it. The judge decides what they want to do. Do you think the judge cares about this system or about Luigi? The judge cares about the system. Do you think a judge would care if Luigi, again, allegedly, shot some dude, some guy who probably has a family like this guy does and has people who love him? No, this wouldn't make anything. Nobody would care. It'd be a local event. Judge just wouldn't care. He'd plea and go away. But because of the guy he shot, because this is against the elites, because Luigi's crime isn't actually murder. What? It's not. Luigi's crime is sacrilege. Yes, that's his crime. His crime is he assaulted the elites. He assaulted the system. That's his crime. That's why it becomes a terrorism crime. Heard that one now? The new one? Terrorism crime. Hold on, see if I can get this right.
Which is killing a whole lot more people than Luigi Mangione allegedly did. Put the health insurance industry on trial.
He can't just do it. He doesn't know any better.
The health insurance industry's predatory practices, which
he thinks you can just do that. He doesn't know you can't. The judge decides what gets in and what doesn't get in. A judge can simply decide, no, you may not do that. But that's our defense judge. Oh, well, you're screwed. And that's the system.
I've gotten flooded with stories as well to our email at info@statuscoup.com. We've tried to interview people about their healthcare horror stories. It transcends, like Mangione said, political, racial, class divisions.
Yep.
So I think that's going to be a theme in his defense.
If he can get it. But his point is valid. I've been on juries before, and juries are very often broken on class. Very often.
I think if his legal defense is smart, which there's no reason to think they're not, they are going to put United Healthcare on trial. They are going to put the whole...
He doesn't know any better.
Damn for-profit, predatory, murderous health...
What do you think the odds are that a judge who, again, does not care about your rights at all, does not care about the Constitution at all, it is irrelevant, does not care at all about any of that stuff. You think he does, he doesn't, or she doesn't, they don't. Who cares only about his or her own system she lives in. What do you think the odds are they're going to let him do that? I'm going to tell you, 0.
Insurance industry on trial.
0.
Because all it takes is one. All it takes is one.
However, here's the problem. What judges also will tell you. I know I've been on juries. This is how it works. I've seen it more than once. You see the jury charge. For those who don't know what that is, that's the jury charge. At the end of any trial, The judge tells the jurors what they can and cannot think about. I'm not joking. That's what the judge does. The judge will tell them they may not use jury nullification. The judge will, in New York State for sure, maybe other states too, but I know in New York State, the judge will literally tell them, you may not use jury nullification. It does not matter if you think it is an unfair law or not. That is literally a lie and unconstitutional. And judges do that every single time. They just go, you may not. If you think this is not a crime, it doesn't matter. You must convict. Absolute lie, 100% not true. All judges do it. Prosecutors do it too. In fact, they do it before they even start. They will say things when they're picking a jury. They'll ask them, do you think this, they'll literally ask this question. Do you think this is a valid law? And they go, no, throw them off. They're gone. You have to agree the law is a valid law, even if it's an invalid law. Literally unconstitutional, literally against the law, anti-American. And that's how it works. He doesn't know any better. He believes this is true. He's a smart guy. He just hasn't been through this garbage like I've been through. I've watched this happen multiple times. I've watched judges do this multiple times. It's the way of things.
Juror to hold out. You could have a mistrial. You could have jury nullification, which we've talked about here.
You can't actually have that. I mean, you can, but you're not going to.
Which is essentially kind of a jury thinks that the defendant committed the crime, but basically, give him or her a pass, thinking it was justified. That's not the legal definition, but in practice, that's what it is.
Actually.
So now that Mangione has spoken, let me update you on the case, because as I record this, which is on Saturday, February 15th, we could see a federal indictment.
Now, why would you want a federal charge? Here's why. They want a federal charge because if there's a federal charge, they'll throw on the terrorism charge. Nobody's terrorized. That's not a thing. And everyone knows that. No one thinks that we are terrorized. No one does. That's not a thing. So why would you do that? One reason. Federal charges, terrorism, they can execute them. They want to execute a 20-something. Why? Don't 20-somethings shoot people every day in this country? Well, probably. I mean, murder people every day, all the time. Why does this guy have to be executed? Because his crime isn't murder. His crime is sacrilege. Never forget that. His crime is sacrilege. And that's the worst crime. Far worse than killing people. They don't care about that. You people don't matter. We don't matter. They murder us all day long. They don't give a shit about us. We don't care. But you can't touch our elites. Oh, how dare you? You can't touch our elites. You have to pay for that. You can't attack our system. That's Ross Ulbricht. You can't attack our system. You can't do that. That's the worst. That's the worst. So we got to make sure we send a message to everybody. Kill each other all day long, poors. We don't care, you poors. Kill yourselves. You're a bunch of animals anyway. That's literally how they think of you. I'm us. I'm here too. That's how I think of us. You animals, kill each other. We don't care. But you can't mess with us, the elites. Oh, no. That's sacrilege. We can't break that. You got to die. I don't care if you're 20-something. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Got to put you away. He doesn't know any better. He thinks that this is the way. No, that's not that.
By Monday. So there has not been a federal indictment yet against Luigi Mangione. This is from January. Court proceedings for man charged in United Healthcare CEO's killing delayed several weeks.
Why is delayed?
The lawyers agreed in a letter to the court that the deadline to bring an indictment against Luigi Mangione can be extended from January 18th to February 17th. So that would give the federal prosecution, the government, which in this case would be the Trump administration, until Monday. Mangione is now charged in a criminal complaint, a document that is lodged against individuals prior to the return of an indictment. So I do think the timing of this Mangione statement, although I think what he said is probably from the heart, the timing right before that deadline, I'm assuming his lawyers fully expect an official federal indictment to come.
As do I,
on Monday against Mangione. And as part of that federal indictment, we know the terrorism charges, which are unprecedented, I think insane and dangerous for all of us.
100% true.
And legal experts have said that they believe that is an
because now you can just charge anybody with terrorism just so you can put them away. This is why people get mad and they go, Larry, why do you hate all these laws? Don't we need laws? All the laws that affect us daily, we've had on the books since friggin' Hammurabi 3,000 years ago. Like murder is a crime. We got that already. But if you notice all the stuff that he's been charged with, most of them aren't crimes. The question is, did he kill the guy or not? That's the question. He should be charged with one thing, either first degree or second degree murder or whatever you consider that, whatever they believe that crime is. That's it. But Larry, you got to charge me terror. Why? That's not a crime. You scared somebody. That's not a crime. Did he murder the guy or not? If he did, put him away. If he didn't, don't put him away. But he had a gun. So if you hit him over the head with a bat, that'd have been better? Not a crime. Possession is not a crime. That's stuff we just made up to scare people. There's no such thing as possession being a crime. I have a thing. So did you threaten somebody with it? Did you hit somebody with it? Did you shoot somebody with it? Did you harm somebody with it? Did you rob somebody with it? No, then it's not a crime. Then it's not a crime. So with the exception of the murder charge, every other crime that he's charged with is not a crime. It is a useless law just made to make sure he can be put away for 45,000 years. That's it. If you say, well, Larry's got to go away for a long time, then make the punishment for murder to be worse. Then he goes away forever. Whatever, right? Do the thing that you need. If that's the horrible crime, then put him away for a horrible amount of time. I have a problem with that. Do that. They don't. They stack. Why do they stack? So a jury says, and this happens every time in a jury, man, he's charged with like 9 crimes. Had to do something wrong. Got to get him with something. It simply allows the government multiple bites at the apple to convict and put somebody away. The goal of the justice system, I vomit when I think about saying justice system. The goal of our horrible justice system is a punishment system. It's not justice. They don't care about that at all. That's not important at all. Please never think that that's in their minds. Not even close. It is, how do we get a conviction? That's it. How do I know that? Could you imagine if all of a sudden during the time that they're doing the trial, they found some information during the trial, like in the trial, they had a witness come out and go, oh, it wasn't Luigi. He has a twin brother named Phil, because I'm mad at Phil now because Phil's talking. So Phil's his actual brother, and Phil did it. And here's the proof that Phil did it. And they provide proof that it wasn't Luigi, that it was Phil. I'm making this up completely, pulling this out of the air, obviously. Right? It was really his twin brother Phil. Here's the evidence. In fact, here's data from Phil. They provide this. Here's data from Phil. Doing this. The defense provides information as evidence. Here's the evidence. His twin Phil, spaces Jason script is Mario. They weren't twins, but okay, it's Mario. Fine, Luigi and Mario. Fine, we'll do the Mario thing. So it's Mario. So Mario shows up. Says, here it is. Here's the data. In fact, I did it. It was me. Here's everything. Do you think they would stop the prosecution? No. They would still put Luigi away and then later put Mario away too. I wish I was joking. There's actual evidence of this. There's actual evidence of them doing exactly the same thing. Yes. They don't care. That's why I'm bothered. Now, do I think if he killed the guys, go away? Of course. But the point is, this isn't about that. I wish it was. I wish it was. But it's not. At all. I'm sorry, I yapped away. Let me grab comments and questions on this. And of course, it's an AMA. So please, any questions you want. Before we get to please click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. That button does matter. If you don't click that button, you like our justice system, which makes you a bad person. Sorry, it does. Yes, so, because it's not just, it's a punishment system. That's what it actually is. It does work well as that, though. It does. It works well as a punishment system. That it does very well. So please click the like button if you, I guess, want punishing people for a punishment system. It does work well for that. You can click like for that if you would, because that lets Mr. Rhythm, first name Al, middle name Gore, it makes that guy go, oh, this must be good stuff. Let me share it around. Speaking of sharing, you should be sharing it too. Please repost this or share this, Facebook page, X, wherever the case may be. If you have not subscribed on YouTube yet, please do so. Please follow me on Facebook, X, and Rumble. All of the following matters also. The more following, the better. And when you subscribe on YouTube, click all notifications. I found a lot of people don't do that. So please click all notifications. It does matter. You can super chat me, it goes right to the front. Appreciate super chats. You can also rant me if you want on Rumble. If you're watching on Rumble, Larry Sharpe, there also goes right to the front. I will be more lenient on questions today because it is an AMA. But if you want to go right to the front, please do that. It helps. If you become a member, please click join button on YouTube, $29 per month, or you can do it by clicking subscribe during the live on Rumble. All of those are good. All of them are cool. So yes. All righty. Sawyer over on Instagram says, dunk on Luigi, please. I don't know if Luigi, I'm assuming Luigi's guilty. But I could be wrong, right? Maybe there's some special I don't know about. It does look horrible for him. And if he did it, he should go away. My issue, to be very forward with you, Jonathan, is not that he should or shouldn't go away. Is that he should not be charged with terrorism. That's a garbage charge. And all those possession charges are all garbage. Charge him with the crime. If they think he did the crime, looks like he did again. You never know. Government could always be lying, but it looks like he did it. Okay, that's the evidence you have. Great. Charge him with murder. No problem with that. Charge him with what you think he did. We should be immediately. And if I was governor of New York, we were in New York, I would immediately pardon him immediately of all the crimes except murder. Right away, right off the bat. I'd be like, oh, pardon all those crimes. Why? Because they're not crimes. Did he murder the guy or not? Figure that one out. If the jury says yes, put him away. Jury says no, he didn't. Done. That's it. Every other crime, I'd pardon him immediately. Why? Because that would explode across the country and people would see what bullshit this is. Terrorism charge is bullshit, should not exist. He should not get it. Nobody's terrorized. That is an attack against the state because he is a heretic. That's why that's a BS charge, right? Charge him with murder. That's what they think he did. Okay, do that, nothing else. So I'm not going to dunk on him, tell you the truth. I know you want me to, but I'm not. Jonathan goes on to say, Biden had 4 years in office, and the only one who got anything done was Mangione. Yeah, I'm not excusing what he did. I'm not. I am explaining what I say all the time. Desperate people do desperate things. We have done nothing to fix our healthcare system for decades. Nothing. When Republicans were in charge, when Democrats were in charge. Nothing at all. And we wonder why things like this happen. When you don't give people a voice, when you don't give them a way to fix things, they do desperate things. Why think Trump is trashing everything? Because we haven't fixed anything. You don't fix things. You don't give people a voice. And you wonder, I don't know, why do you get so desperate? Give them a voice. Fix something. They might not be so desperate. They might not do these things. You could tell this was going to happen. I told you this was going to happen years ago. If you don't give people a way to deal with this, this is what happens. Yes. Anyway, I'm sorry. It got me getting all triggered. I get triggered because I have more than once watched innocent men go to prison and have their lives ruined. More than once. It is heartbreaking. It is soul crushing. It is. Remember, I'm on the defense team. I know when the guys did it, when they didn't do it, right? And I've seen guilty guys go to jail, as they should, right? But for a fair time, for the right crimes, right? That's what we should be doing. But I've also seen people who didn't do it. And juries just go, yep, done, put them away. Why? Because when you get charged, it's not 1-to-1 like they tell you. It's a good system of the pro and the con. Garbage, not true at all. Garbage, not true at all. It's 5-to-1. The judge thinks you did it. The judge is probably a former prosecutor. So the judge thinks you did it. So the judges can't wait to put you away. And the judge spends their time putting people away. So they have to, in their own minds, believe everybody's guilty. Otherwise, they can't sleep at night, or they're sociopaths. Either one. So they think you did it. Prosecutor, guaranteed thinks you did it. So that's 2 against you off the bat. The press thinks you did it. Guaranteed. If you have, the jury thinks you did it. Guaranteed. And the jury should be the opposite. If you go to trial, you maybe didn't do it. Because if you did it, what would you do? You'd plea. Of course you would. That's why everybody pleas. The fact that you're on a jury, if you're on a jury, you're thinking, wait a minute, why didn't this guy plea? First thing you should be thinking, why didn't he plea? You, as a jury, the first thing should be, why didn't he plea? You should be thinking that. He didn't plea. This guy might be innocent. He might be getting railroaded. Why didn't he plea? I'm not saying everyone who doesn't plea is innocent. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, you should be thinking that immediately. He didn't plea. Wait a minute. He might be innocent. But we don't. We go, he's in front of us, and prosecutors and judges are great, so he must be guilty. Absolute bullshit, but people think that. So jury's against you already too. If you have a public defender who is overwhelmed and hates their job, they think you're guilty too. Hopefully you don't have that. Some public defenders are amazing work. Some are completely overwhelmed, have no chance, and all they want to do is just plea you because they know they have no chance of helping you. They can't. They're completely overwhelmed, underpaid. No, they have no shot. I'm not mad at them. The system has completely screwed up public defenders. They are utterly screwed. So that part, the prosecutors, yeah, I blame them. Judges, I blame them. Defense attorneys, I don't blame them. Even though some of them are bad, they're completely overwhelmed. They can't do anything. They're screwed. They're trying to do something right, and they're like the kid trying to put the finger in the dike. This is not going to work. Yeah. Anyway, let me keep going. You guys got me going because I get all uppity on this one. Mike, don't be mad at me. I got triggered. It wasn't libertarian stuff. See, I screwed on something else this time. So anyway, let me grab some of these if I can. Peace says, thank you for being a member, Peace. When I think about this boy, he strikes me as loving and kind. Our friends, parents, environment build our personality and morals. I feel bad for people affected by this tragedy. I don't know if he is, to be forward with you. You know, the problem that we have, Peace, is he's a good-looking person, and humans want to believe that good-looking people are somehow better. And sometimes they are. I mean, he might be, these things you say. I don't know him at all. But generally speaking, if you watched, again, assuming that was him and assuming what happened is true, making that assumption, that's not a loving, kind person. Who does that? There was no remorse on that one. He wasn't like, oh my God. No. He finished him off. So if it was him, again, I'm assuming it would, but it may not be. Government does lie. Who knows? That's not loving and kind. That's an angry person. Andrew, thank you for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that, my friend. Every bit does count. So important. Thank you for doing that. Every bit. Thank you so much. So yes. All righty. Phil says, as long as we're someone who's Italian as Luigi Mangione, Mangione is Italian for glutton or one who eats. Oh, is that right? What's your favorite pasta or Italian food? I like a return. This is the funny part. I can hardly eat Italian food anymore because I'm keto. So I rarely eat Italian food. But I do sometimes. I'm here or there. So I happen to love meatballs, very much so. One of my favorites. I'll often have that when I'm at an Italian restaurant so that I don't have to have anything else with it. But one of my favorite sandwiches with that is a meatball hero without cheese. I prefer it without cheese. I'll have it with cheese. I'll eat it with cheese. I'm not against the cheese, but I prefer heavy red sauce, meatball. I'm getting hungry now. That's your fault, Phil. I'm getting hungry now. Meatball hero. Heavy red sauce, no cheese. That's my favorite. I love that. I used to get that often on the weekends when I come home from work. There's a pizza joint near me. I get a pizza and a meatball hero, and I'm gonna have that for that'd be like what I eat the weekend. So I used to love that. I do like that a lot. But something else I like also, or just straight. I'm boring maybe. Spaghetti meatballs. I love spaghetti meatballs also. Love that too. One of my favorite Italian meals. Totally simple, I know, but one of my favorite meals also. And of course, which I don't know how Italian actually it is, but I like pizza. I've always loved pizza, and I prefer meat lovers pizza. That's my preferred. I prefer that. I also like mushrooms on my pizza too. And of course, we know no pineapple on pizza. None. No pineapple on pizza. That should be a crime, right? That's the only crime that has no victim that should be a crime is pineapple on pizza. That should be a federal crime, and you get no rights, none, zero rights. You should lose all of your rights. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. Did you put pineapple on pizza? Jail. Immediately. Straight to jail. And you lose all your rights. If you beg for forgiveness to never do it again, 20 years in prison. If you don't, 3 life sentences, plus 10 years, plus 20 years. I'm triggered today. Look at you, Phil. You got me triggered. 2 things. Peace. Thank you for the $20, my friend. Have you hit the like button? Become a member. You should do both. He is correct. You should do both. Absolutely true. You should do both. I agree. I think Peace is correct. You should do that. Yes. All right, I'm grabbing some more of these. Kim says, Peace logic as far as Luigi goes, I'm definitely not a fan. Don't know the man he killed or why Luigi thought he could be judge or an executioner. Everyone deserves a day in court. Kim, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Right? Look, I get it. And a lot of particularly the young ladies, they're like, because he's a hot guy, they're like, oh, he must be innocent. You know, you could be hot and be innocent. You can be hot and be guilty as hell. So just because he's a hot guy doesn't make him all of a sudden not guilty. So I'm with you, right? Look, do I hope there's some kind of crazy mistake and we're totally missing something and something else happened? That would be amazing. Well, I don't think so, right? I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's what's happening. So, yes. Peace goes on to say, it's a wake-up call. Ultimately, we need to get rid of all this corruption on our planet. I'm tired of this stupid planet that I live on. I am tired of people being asleep. It's one of the reasons why I do what I do, Peace, is I let you know what's actually happening. Too many of us think, oh, it's about the Constitution, or oh, it's about justice, or, oh, it's about none of that. None of that. Right? None of that. So, let's see here. Let's see. Jonathan over on Instagram says, I don't care if he's a felon, he should be president. I think you're talking about, are you talking about, which guy are you talking about? I'm not sure what you're talking about. You talking about Trump being a felon and being a president, Jonathan? Or are you talking about Luigi that he should be president? I don't know which one you're talking about, but thank you for that. So maybe. Joel over on Rumble says, thank you for the $1. I appreciate the rant. Can Kathy Hogan get any worse? That isn't a challenge to her to try. Yeah, don't challenge her because yes, she can. She hasn't really weighed in too much on this one. I don't think she wants to. And the reason is she knows if she actually weighs into this, she might get in trouble. Why? Remember, his crime is not murder. Please don't think it is. His crime is sacrilege. Excuse me. If she steps in and takes anything away from the feds and he can't be executed for his crimes against the state and the establishment, and that's his crimes. His crimes are against the establishment and the state, meaning the government. That's his actual crime. If she steps in and hurts that, oh, she might pay a very high price for that. So she's going to shut up, see what happens. If they're like, hey, Hochul, take this. We don't want to do the terrorism thing. Just make sure he goes away here in New York State and never gets out. She will do that. Wait a minute, Larry. She's going to fix it? Yes. Because she'll pressure the judges. Wait a minute. Judges can be pressured? Yes. Yes. Remember, judges care about the party politics, not about your rights. Never think they do. They don't. They care about why? What is their repercussions if they screw your rights over? None. You have no rights. We're the poors. They don't care about us. We don't matter. They don't care. We have no power over them. Well, there, we elect them. No, we don't. That's not a thing. Most judges run unopposed in New York State. Not all, but most do. And we know who they're going to win. Whoever the parties select get selected, or they pick them through the party system. So the parties are they care about. The parties how they stay in power. We don't. We don't. So they don't care about us. So if the party puts pressure on the judge will do what the party says, and you going away forever. Done. See you never. That's how that works. So, Ryan, thank you for the $5. If you put pineapple on pizza, straight to Siberia for you. Nobody's saying did it yourself. That's what no, see, Ryan gets it. Nobody's saving you. Did it to yourself. Ryan says Siberia. I'm saying Gitmo. But either one, we should keep Gitmo open. What? You're libertarian. For people who put pineapple on pizza. That's what Gitmo should be open for. Just for that. The rest should close. But for that, yeah. Right to the jail. You get like 30 days. Something like that. To repent your sins. Because that's a sin. So you repent your sins or not. If we don't believe you repent your sins, Gitmo. There we go, Ryan. Ryan knows. Ryan gets it. Gitmo. You can repent your sins. If you don't, Gitmo. So I'm saying. So yes. Dave says, if he gets convicted, Democrats will say it was framed. No. Maybe individual Democrats, yes, Dave, but the establishment. The establishment wants him to go away forever and never come back. So established Democrats are like, yes, of course, he's evil. Yes, absolutely. Yes, of course. Mike says, Mike Voss in the house, Luigi is a result of indoctrination and feelings directed at enemies of political elites. He deserves no pity. He must be tried and punished to the extreme. No, he must be tried and punished for murder. Murder. Not to the extreme, for whatever that murder charge is. Whatever that is. That's it. But yes, I get what you're saying. I do. The reality of it is he thinks he can get off because it's system. And I'll be very forward with you. If it's not federal, he has a chance of getting off. To your point, Mike. And they know that. If this is federal, he is gone forever. If this goes federal, just plea. He's done. He's done. Plea to not get a death penalty. If this goes federal, plea to not get a death penalty. Just get, well, plea, just don't do death penalty. Put him in jail forever. Don't do death penalty. And try to appeal and hope that eventually some president does something to help him in some way, commutes his sentence when he's like 70 or something. That's the only way. Otherwise, no. That's now state. There's a chance because enough people at state level, you might get the one person who goes. Remember, at state level, he has a chance of picking jurors. Federal, the judge picks the jurors. The judge is going to look and make sure nobody who has any ability, who has any chance to be a leader, to make nothing, no way. So he's finished. He goes to state though. His people get a chance to pick the jury. You get one libertarian-leaning leader, he's going to get the penalty. He doesn't. He might still go away for murder, maybe, but that's it. Every other charge is dropped. I'm being very forward. I'm never getting that on a jury. But if I'm on a jury, if he's guilty of murder, he gets murder. Nothing else. Everything else not guilty. I don't care if he did it or not. Like I'd be like, no, it's not a crime. All of that's no. And I will lead a jury because I will let them know. You will agree with me or you ain't going home. So we'll say it forever. Or mistrial. And he gets nothing. They're like, fine. Put him away for murder. And that'd be it. Assuming he did it again. I think he did it. I could be wrong. And I'm open. I am always open to the government lying. So maybe somehow they made something up. It's all possible. But put him away for what he did. Not some made up crime they made up. Not that at all. So yes. Peace over on Rumble says, we should all have a Rumble account. I chopped down some trees and started a fire. It's cozy and warm over here. See that? It's cozy and warm over in Rumble. That's true. Yes, that is true. It is. So, all right. Dave goes on to say, if he gets off, Republicans will say Democrats found a psychopathic murder off. That's probably true. I think they will use that to fight. That's for sure. They will definitely use that to fight. I think that's true. Yes. So, all right. Cheyenne says, I think that means Melly seems guilty as hell. Agreed. And it appears he can't get a fair trial. But again, Cheyenne, I'm with you on the idea. My point being two things. You should be open to somehow the government lied. I'm not saying he did. Open to the idea if he goes to trial. Two, there is no way that this should be a terrorism charge. That's a bogus charge. If he gets charged with that, you should find him not guilty. That's a bogus charge. Did he kill the guy or not? If he killed him, and again, looks like he did, punish him for that. Whatever is that crime. Is that life? Is that 20 years? Whatever. I don't know what the crime is, depending on the state, whatever it is. Whatever. Give him that. And if the judge thinks it was horrible, max him if the judge thinks so. I'm okay with that too, if you want to max him out or whatever. All that's fine to me. My point is, a lot of this is BS. That is my point. So yes. Andrew says, Luigi shoots a man on camera and is arrested. Marcy Correctional SEALs beat a man to death. On camera, nothing happens. Not nothing happens, but your point's taken. But not nothing happened. They did fire those guys and stuff. So not nothing happened. So yes, a little exaggeration, but yes, absolutely. So, all righty. Mr. Taz says, I hope he gets off. That'll make other CEOs think twice about screwing over the customers. I'm not sure that's true. I think a lot of people think that. My worry is if he gets off, look, the system almost never learns, right? I wish it would, Mr. Taz. I wish it would. It just rarely does. What it will mean is they'll make new laws now. That's what will happen. I'm not joking. If he gets off, they'll make new laws so they can add stuff on top of it to make sure no one else ever gets off. So they'll make a law. I'm not going to say make a law. It'll be like, if you kill someone who's a CEO of a company that you are affected by, that's a new type of murder and that's extra years or whatever. They'll do something like that, right? If it looks like it was because of financial gain, that's another type of murder or something. They'll make another type of murder is all they'll do. They'll just make sure they can add something on top of it so they can put multiple charges because they know that the more charges they put on someone, the higher chance they get convicted because the jury goes, gotta do something. I mean, God, he charged with 95 things. Had to do something wrong. You gotta be guilty of something. That's why they do it. So my gut is they just do more. And then they'll have more security. What was the response of them in general? The response is going to be, oh, I'll just have more security. And then what will happen is then someone will come close to a CEO, some bodyguard will kill that person who comes close to the CEO, and that guy will get off. Because, well, you never know. It's because this is going to happen. I think that's what will happen. So, yes. Michael's going to say, it's not that he's asking for the money. There's so many are foolishly supporting him because of their feelings about others and a system that has not been impacted. He is asking for money. But again, I've been doing the same thing. I'm just being very forward. I mean, again, if I'm in trouble like that, I'm asking for money too. Just saying it. So yeah, I'm just saying it. I would ask also. I think he is asking for money, and I would too. And then people respond, yes, because they hate the system, Mike. Yes, it's what I've been saying. See, this is not fair. Mike, you're being duplicitous here. You're being duplicitous. Trump comes in and starts trashing stuff. And you're like, yay, the system sucks, trash it. This guy's doing a similar thing with murder, obviously, but the concept is the same. And this you're hating is so terrible. He's terrible, the terrible system. When people feel like the system can't be changed, they do whatever they think they can to change the system, whether we like it or not, whether it's right or wrong. It's what people do. It's what they do. Trump is using a sledgehammer to change our system, and it is not the best way to do it. It isn't. There are better ways of doing it. But for literally decades, not one person fixed the goddamn thing. So now we're like, forget it. Sledgehammer. Fine. Sledgehammer it. Because nothing else is getting done. We'll take a sledgehammer then. And then most Americans are saying they're okay with it. Not all, obviously. Some are very mad at him. But most like, okay, fine. Do it. We don't care. Something's got to change. Well, this too. We haven't fixed our system here at all. And how he does it? And now you're like, it's just terrible. No, brother. It's the same thing. Now, different stuff. Same concept. If you don't give people a way to fix things, they do desperate things. If Mangione thought he could run for office and win something, he would have done that if he believed he could do that. He didn't. He thought the only thing he could do was this. That's what he thought. Clearly, he was wrong, and I'm not advocating it at all. Again, not saying it's right, not saying he shouldn't go to jail. I'm explaining how it works. And it's not foolish. You are wrong, Mike. It's not foolish. It is human nature. It is natural. It is what people feel. Feelings matter. As I say all the time, feelings are far more important than facts. I say it all the time. And every single week, I'm proven right on this. Feelings are more important than facts. You see it with Trump. You see it with him. Feelings are more powerful, are more important than facts all the time, consistently. Here it is again. This is another system. Lunatic in the house. He says, system such a corrupt POS. Accurate. Accurate. Yes. Phil says, like with hate crimes, terrorism seems like criminalizing motive rather than actions. Yes. Christina agrees with you. Thank you, Christine. The kid took a life. Doesn't matter why. Correct. Yes. Yes. Correct. That's my point, Christine. Did he do it or not? He did it. Put him away. He didn't do it. Don't put him away. Don't say, well, it's also this and also that and also this. If what they say is correct and what we saw looks like he did it, then he should go away. I'm with you, Christine. Ryan says it. Murder's murder. Yes, absolutely. But Mastermind gets it. He says oligarchicide is what he means, I think, is much worse than homicide. Sadly, Mastermind Hour, sadly, you are correct. I wish you weren't, because it shouldn't matter, right? It shouldn't matter. To Ryan's point, murder's murder. If he went out and shot some guy, I don't know, who was, a sales rep at a marketing company, right? Some guy we never heard of, some guy, John Smith, whatever, some guy who's a sales rep at a marketing company, he gets shot. John Smith might have a family just like this CEO did. John Smith might have family and friends who love him and miss him and feel terrible. Would we care about it? No, because that's just regular homicide. We wouldn't care. Whatever. He's not getting terrorism charge. Nothing. Oh, but you hit one of the heavy people, one of the oligarchs. Yeah, you can't do that. That's sacrilege. You got to pay for that. That's extra murder. You're exactly right. That's extra murder. Absolutely. Totally extra murder. That's correct. So, yeah. All righty. Ryan goes on to say the system is beyond FUBAR. But FUBAR is beyond. Oh, it's beyond. Because you know, FUBAR is effed up beyond all recognition. That's what FUBAR stands for. Andrea says nullifications are right. Yes, that's true. Andrea, you are correct. That is all right. And you cannot find a judge who will agree with you. Please try to find one. You cannot find a judge, particularly in New York State. There may be others. Or I know New York State very well. That's what I know. I know it very well. You cannot find a judge in New York State who will agree with you. They will all tell you are wrong. That's not true. Nullification against the Constitution, against the law, all that stuff. They'll tell you that all day long. And they are wrong. And they are lying. But again, most people think judges care about the Constitution and our rights. They don't. Nullification is an attack upon the system that they can't have. Remember, they are the system. They are correct. Nullification, you can't do that. That's heresy. That's heresy. That's worse than murder. Sacrilege is the worst. Heresy is terrible too. Blasphemy, but these three are the worst. You can't do these three. Those are the three crimes that are worse. Blasphemy, heresy, and sacrilege are the worst crimes. Worse than murder, worse than anything. Never forget this. To be clear, never forget this. This is the most important piece to remember of all of this stuff here. Ross Ulbricht got a worse sentence than Jeffrey Dahmer. Ross Ulbricht killed exactly nobody. Not one person. Stole exactly nothing. Not one person. Nothing. Not a thing. Jeffrey Dahmer fooled people, tricked them, drugged them, RAP'd them, killed them, and ate them. I'm not making it up, multiple times, premeditated. I'm not making that up. Premeditated. Tricked, drugged, RAP'd them, murdered them, and ate them. He got less time than Ross Ulbricht. Why? Because his victims were poors. They don't matter. Who cares? They're poors. They don't matter. But this guy, he's elite. That's different. You might think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. I just gave you an actual example that I will never, ever forget. Of all the horrible crimes you could imagine, he did all of them. Tricked, kidnapped, drugged, violated, murdered, and cannibalism. Like, what are worse crimes than that? And all premeditated. How can you find a worse human being as an individual than that? If anybody should have gotten multiple life sentences, it's that guy. If anyone should have gotten a death sentence, if you believe in death sentence at all, if anybody should have gotten it, it's him. And the evidence was in his fridge. Like, it was in his fridge. He admitted to it. He pled. So he did it. There's no doubt. There's no, who else did it? No, it was him. He admitted to it. The evidence was in his fridge. Already got worse. This guy, Luigi, will get worse than that. I cannot imagine someone doing worse crimes. Cannot imagine. Sorry. You guys, this gets me triggered because I just got off a case. That's why I'm so triggered over this. I apologize, guys. So, Wobbin Hood over on Instagram asked, "Sir, why are the Dems losing their minds over all the federal government cuts? Here is the reason why. Because it's their money, my friend. They're losing their own money that they are giving to people, money they are giving to their constituency, money they are giving to their cronies. So they'll start losing power. Again, last year when Trump won, or last year when this was going badly, last year when they couldn't fix anything, last year when Biden was collapsing, last year when there was inflation, they didn't care about that. Why would they care about that? They don't want to fix anything. They don't care about that. All of them got reelected in their leadership positions. All of them. They didn't change leadership, nothing. And they got the butt kicked. They didn't care. It doesn't matter. It didn't affect their money. See, they still raised tons of money last year. And now that Trump is president, they can just yell orange man bad and keep raising money and keep their power. What they care about is their money and their power. Cutting all of the federal cuts, that affects their money. See? And that matters more than you or me. We don't count. They're not accountable to us. We don't count. We're in the way. That's the issue. We are in the way. So that should answer your question. So I'm going to grab back to Peace over on Rumble. Peace, thank you for the $1. He has two of them, $1 each. One, I think the deeper problem is rehabilitation. Optimally, someone commits a crime and we approach them with love. We need to love each other, understand each other. He goes on to say, it is also important reason to understand free will, which is a misnomer. Why would anyone want to be evil? It doesn't make sense. You are simply affected by bad information. Let me grab both of those. In theory, you are correct, Peace. Conceptually, I agree completely. The problem is, how do you do that, right, with our current system? Our current system is so far beyond that, right? And do you want to go to a system that's almost the opposite, right? Like the Norwegian system. The Norwegian system has an opposite view. The Norwegian system does not have mandatory minimums. They have mandatory maximums. If I remember right, maybe someone will do some homework on that. You can check it out. I'm pretty sure the current system in Norway is you cannot go to jail for more than 27 years, no matter what you do. Like that's the maximum. So it means that now the system has to fix you because you're getting out in the maximum of 27 years. You are getting out. So the system has to prepare you to get out. Now, should we go to there? I'm not saying we should get there, but they're doing the opposite. Now, Norway has a whole different system. There's only 5 million Norwegians. There's more people in New York City than are in Norway. They also have something else. They have a massive sovereign fund, which is over $1 trillion, which they can afford to be socialistic because they have so much money in their sovereign fund. They're able to do that. So they're able to pay for that, to pay for all these things because they're sovereign fund. I was trying to make that happen in New York State with my New York State social trust. I wanted to copy their model, have a bunch of money so you can afford for stuff. That's what they have. So they're able to do that. So that kind of system is probably a better system, I assume. They do have lower crime rates and better recidivism rates, obviously. Could we move towards that? Of course we could. I had an idea to deal with, I talked about the idea before of having what I called CREW, which was community rehabilitation groups, right? Units, CREW, CRU, community rehabilitation units. It's a unit where people of similar communities would come in and try to help people to get them back into the community again, right? That was the goal. I completely agree with this idea. But how do you do it when our system is utterly broken? Where where so many people are making money on a prison industrial complex, right? You have a prison industrial complex right now. People are making money off of people's suffering. They don't want to change suffering, man. So, yeah. The next thing about why would someone be evil? Well, the question is, are they sociopathic or not, right? And here's what we know about sociopaths. Sociopaths are a very small percent of our population, maybe 1%. They're a small percentage. More males than females are sociopaths. But sociopaths does not mean you're violent. Those things do not necessarily go together. Raising a sociopath with violence means they will go to prison. It's almost a 1-to-1. So if you have a sociopathic person, but you raise them, to your point, Peace, with love and affection, they will copy love and affection even though they can't feel it because they're taught that's what you do. So you will find them act with love and affection, not because they feel it, because they've been taught that's how humans react, what you do. If you raise them with violence, they will be violent. And I'm not making this up. Do your own homework on this if you want to. There's tons of books on psychopathy. It's all over the place. If you raise sociopaths with violence, they are going to prison. That is how it works. It's almost 100%. So those people are literally evil. I don't mean to be cruel, but it's just true. They're people who believe that violence is the answer to their problems. Everyone else is secondary. I will use violence to solve all my problems. And about 20 to 25% of the prison population is sociopathic, give or take. It's a huge chunk compared to like the 1% outside. And it's because most of them go to prison. If they're violent, they go to prison. That's how that works. So with that exception, probably right, but not with that exception. So yes. All righty. Straight End says, feelings over logic wins, even on the Starship Enterprise. Correct, Straight End. Feelings do matter. They absolutely matter. And they're much more powerful than facts. It's not even close. They're so more important. So anyway, let me grab a couple of these. All righty. See if I can grab some more of these as I go down here. Kim says, United Healthcare should in fact be on trial, but no one does their wrongdoing justify someone to murder a man. Agreed, right? If you wanted to actually make this work, you should do both of those things, but you can't, right? The issue, this is the problem, Kim. If he put United Healthcare on trial, even if he's convicted, at least what he would have done the actual thing, meaning got the issue out. We would have seen what was actually happening. So at least that would happen. So yeah, and that's true. Yes. So Mastermind Hour says, if I was Luigi's lawyer, I would prove that United Healthcare declared war against the public and Luigi was just an enemy combatant. Look at that. This is the reason, Mastermind, why they won't allow it. Because if I was working that case and the judge actually allowed that, that's literally what I would say. Not in those words, but I would literally come up with an idea of this guy's a freedom fighter. That would be my defense. Of course it would be. I think you're totally right. So yes, I don't think that's going to happen though. I don't think that's going to happen. So, all right. Brooklyn says, I think if it's federal charges, he gets to stay in BDC versus going to Rikers Island. Oh, I don't know. Is that right? I'm not sure about that. I actually don't know how that works. Yeah, I don't know how that works. Phil says, if this is Pam Bonnie's chance to prove she's living up to her charging guidelines. I hope you're right. Right? I hope you're right. Mike goes on to say, reminder, like and subscribe. These are the conversations that political elites never want you to be part of, no matter where you individually stand. Correct, guys. I'm telling you, yes, Mike is correct here. Who else is talking like this? Who else is giving you these details of how it actually works? Nowhere. They're just taking a side. Just taking a side. Their side is, bad guy, and put him away. That's it. No nuance. Or the system's terrible. He's a hero. And that's it. And neither of those is actually true. I mean, you could think either one's true, but there's nuance to all of this, right? There's nuance to all of this. So yes. Brooklyn goes on to say they have over 15 terabytes of discovery. Wow. What does that mean? Is that good or is that bad? I don't know. Interesting. Yeah. Masterman Al goes on to say, this is way more than a murder case. The lawyer for Luigi would be negligent to not bring in class issues. The question is, can he? This is what a lot of you aren't getting. A judge can simply say, you may not say this or mention it. And you can't. You can't. So let's say they put to him, look, we want to put this into evidence. We want to talk about this issue. And he goes, you may not bring in class issues. It's not about class. This is only about whether he murdered him or not. That's it. Nothing else you can bring in class. Can I do it? And if he does, they'll stop. Literally, the prosecutor will go, objection. When he opens his mouth, the judge will say, strike that from the record. Counsel, you do it again, I'm going to punish you. Can't say it again. That's how this actually works. I'm with you, Mastermind, but remember, the judges decide this. Why do you think every other week I'm yelling about judges? Why do you think that? Every other week I'm yelling about judges. No one else yells about judges like I do. You found no one else yells about judges like that. People go, judges are the last, they're so important. They are important, but they're terrible. Why do we have these horrible laws? Who is going to stop the brain dead dung throwers that we have in our assemblies who make these terrible laws. Who's going to stop them? Judges. Do they? Never. Never. They don't stop them. They're supposed to. That's kind of their job. They don't. So, yeah. Joel goes on to say, so many politicians like Warren and Sanders lecture us that evil, wealthy CEOs are the root of all evil. They want the people to hate them. True, but then they'll defend this. Both. Yes, they will. Yes, absolutely. So I agree with both of those things, 100%. So, all righty. Let's see if I can go down here. Roy goes on to say, justice equals Trump quid pro quoing fellow indicted criminal Adams. Law for thee, not for me. I would agree with that, but it's not just Trump. I think that's a lot of people doing that. I'm not fighting you on it. I'm just saying I don't think it's just Trump. I think you see that all over the place. Sadly, constantly. So, yes. See if I can do this a couple more if I could. Phil says it was Waluigi. Nicely done. Look at that. Great one. Nicely done. Yes. Mike says healthcare is not a right. Agreed. I'm not fighting you on that either. I agree. Look, do I believe that America could absolutely create a system to where everybody has good quality healthcare? Absolutely, yes, we could do so. Are we required to by right? No, we're not. Could we? Yes. Should we? Yes. We should do so, and we can do so. It is a shame that we have not fixed this system. But to your point, it is not a right. We're not required, but we really should. I mean, we really should. That's the problem. So, agree with you. Phil goes on to agree with you, Mike. He says anything that requires someone else's labor isn't the right. Well, yes, but no. There is an exception to that, which is the right to an attorney. There is a right to an attorney, and that is someone's labor. So there are some exceptions to that. There are some exceptions. Yeah. But then again, my perfect example of that, though, is I just mentioned it. How good are most of these defense attorneys, these public defenders? Again, no, I want to be very clear. No shame to public defenders. I'm not shaming them. What I'm saying is they are in a position to where they are overwhelmed and trashed. And that's my point, right? That's what happens when you make it a right. But it is a right. And it's their labor. But they've made a system to where they're based. Most of these guys, they're doing the best they can. And the best they can is trying to get you a decent plea. They just physically can't do anything else. So, yeah. Yeah. Andrea, it says, I'm so tired of over prosecution. I hear it all the time. Yes. Christine says, Larry, can there be a ballot measure to streamline the way charges are brought up in New York? You have just made Roger Meadows' day, because I know if he's listening, he's like, yes, we should have that ballot initiative. Okay, how New York State works. We can put ballot initiatives on. We are officially a ballot initiative state, but that's not what Roger Meadows talks about. He talks about a citizen ballot initiative state. We are a ballot initiative state, but we can only do it if the assembly agrees. So what does that mean? When the assembly doesn't want to take responsibility for something, they put it on a ballot initiative and then blame you. That's how New York State works. So could we do it? Yes, we could. We will never, because they would never allow that as a ballot initiative. We'd have to have a citizens ballot initiative, as Roger Meadows speaks about like every week. Then we could do it. Otherwise, no. It would have to be a citizens ballot initiative. So, yeah, that's the issue. So, Dow says the Constitution guarantees life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Those guarantees are impossible without providing health care for everyone, all at the same level. I disagree completely. And I say that because you can find it without guaranteeing health care for everyone. The problem is when we make something a right, and this is how it always works, Dow, if you make something a right, you by default make it more expensive. You don't make it better. And I'll give you the perfect example here in New York State. In New York State, education is a right. We put it in our Constitution. It's a right. So what's happened to education? It's terrible and expensive. And that's every single time. Every time you make something like this a right, it becomes terrible and expensive, right? Defense attorneys, terrible and expensive. Yes. I mean, public defenders. Yes, that's how it works. You make something a right like that, you make it expensive, and you make it not good. You make it to where it's a two-tiered system. That's what will happen. So we have here in New York. If in New York State, can you get a good education? Of course. If you can afford tutors, number one. Two, you can afford private school. Three, you have a parent or someone else who can stay home and act as a tutor for your kid. If any of those two things are true, you can get a great education in New York State. If those three things are not true, you will not get a great education. That's how that works. Why? It's because it's a right. Because it's a right. It doesn't work. I get the concept. I do. I get the feeling behind it. I do. And we did that. We made education a right. Why? Because it felt good. Feelings worked. We made it a right. Is anyone in New York State who can't afford those three things happy with New York State education? Of course not. Education is garbage. Unless you can afford a tutor or for a private school, or you have someone in your home who can stay home and help with your kids. Any of those three, you're good. If you don't have those three, you're not happy. Now, how it works. So I get what you're saying. It just doesn't work. It's not a thing. You have to make a system to where whatever the wealthy get, the poor can get that too. That's where it works well. And what's my example of this? I'll tell you, it's the same example you hear me say all the time. Non-essential healthcare. I'm not joking. Non-essential healthcare, because that's not run by the government. Essential healthcare is run by the government. We're making that in New York State. It's basically a right. Down before, it's basically a right. It isn't officially, but it's basically a right. If you're in New York State, over 50% of people in New York State who get healthcare get government healthcare, Medicaid, Medicare. Over 50%. It's correct. Over 50% are on that. Right? We have a law in New York State. If you are a child in New York State under 18, you get healthcare no matter what. Doesn't matter. You get no matter what. I forgot what it's called. Healthy New York or Child First Plus, whatever. We have plans. If you just apply, that's all you do. It does not matter if your parents make $10 million a year or $10 a year. Irrelevant. If you are a child, you are covered. How are outcomes in New York State? Terrible. We basically made it a right. Generally speaking, in New York State, we rank somewhere around 38th or so in the States and spend the most. So I get what you're saying. I'm telling you it doesn't work. The examples are here everywhere. Now look at non-essential, not like things like cosmetic dentistry, things like body enhancement, stuff like that. In every single case, LASIK eye surgery, every single case, across the board, across the country. If I believe across the entire world, I would guess, but I'm not sure about that. I know across the country for sure. The price of all those things have come down, accessibility has gone up, and the average American can now afford it. The average American can actually afford non-essential healthcare. The average American can get cosmetic dentistry. The average American can. You see it everywhere. They can do it. Now, super poor struggle, but the average American can get it. You go back 30 years ago, only the wealthy got that stuff. Not anymore. You can get it in America. So once you make it where it's guaranteed, things will fail. You make a system to where it's easy and vast amount of people can get it. And when that happens, things get better. Because if you have a situation where only a few people can't get it, they find ways of making it happen. The culture begins to a system. This is what happens. So I hope that makes sense at least. So yes. All right. Let's see here. Alexa says, as someone who's been arrested for tools for the commission of a crime, as my charge for having a pipe, I agree. Yes. Thank you, Alexa. That's not a crime. I had a pipe. Okay. Did you do something with the pipe? Did you threaten somebody with your pipe? Did you steal that pipe? You hit someone over the head with that pipe? Did you smash someone in the face with that pipe? If you did any of those things, I get it. If you didn't, no. Yes. So Roy says, Luigi and Trump were born into privilege. They're not desperate. They're unhinged. Well, maybe those things are true, right? I mean, Luigi, both of them were born into privilege. That part's true. But let's say you're right. Let's say that they're not desperate. They're unhinged. You have a huge chunk of Americans who are backing them being unhinged. Why? Because that huge chunk of Americans are desperate. So what does that mean? If Luigi is unhinged There's a chance that Luigi honestly believes, again, I am not validating this. I'm saying where his head is. There is a chance that he honestly believes that he's a Robin Hood type person, that he's saving the world. I am sure Trump believes that. I am sure Trump believes that. I'm sure he believes that. Why? Well, because a lot of Americans are desperate and they're believing it. So even if you're right, Roy, and you could be, I don't know these guys personally at all. Like I met Trump one time, like 30 years ago, like in a line, and he was like in the Apprentice and stuff. So he doesn't remember me. I don't remember. It's a handshake thing. I've never met Mangione. I don't know him at all. So they might both be on his. You could be correct. Think about all the people who are desperate who are backing them now by the tens of millions. So even if you're right, yeah. So anyway, let me keep going down here if I could. All right. Let me grab a couple of these. So many of these. Okay. Michael says, okay, I'm jumping off topic. I don't mind. This is AMA. And I love this topic and I got completely triggered, but I'm happy to change it if you want to. He says, today, Secretary Hegseth reinforced position that the EU has failed to pitch in, so Trump is the only voice to Ukraine and Russia on ceasefire. Agree. There is no doubt that whether you are happy with Trump or unhappy with Trump, that at the moment, he is the only one talking about an actual peace treaty. He's the only one. An actual ceasefire. It's not the only one. Now, is this going to happen? I said it last year, Mike. This ending the Ukrainian war is not easy at all. There is so much money and grift in that war. It's not going to be easy at all. If anyone can do it, I think Trump can. If someone can, and maybe he can't. I hope he can do it this year. And I mean that with sincerity. I hope he can. I think you're correct. At the moment, he is the only one who is talking about, it was honestly pushing people for a ceasefire. Everyone else is letting it go. In fact, some of them are fueling the fire. The Germans and the Brits are fueling the fire. So the French, they're fueling the fire, right? They're like, give them more, keep going. Let's kill more people. They're fueling the fire. I completely agree. The only guy talking about it is actually Trump. And I hope he can get it done. My worry is that Trump underestimated how hard it was and that he hasn't flipped the script enough yet to figure out what it really takes yet. I hope I'm wrong and he has figured it out. But I know last year he did not figure it out. And I was the first one saying it. He does not get it. He didn't see what I saw. And you might say, why did he not see it? He had a gazillion things he's working on. I've been following, as you noticed, Mike, I've been following this war closely for a long time. I saw what was going on here. No way it's going to be easy. So if he's figured it out, awesome. I hope he and his team have. That'd be amazing. I'd like to change it. But you are correct. He's the only one right now who's even discussing it. And some people are angry. They're like, wow, you got to talk to this, talk to that. Here's the reality, and people will not like this. The peace treaty will be actually done, maybe not officially, but actually through America and Russia. That's true. Ukraine is sadly a victim. And so many people got mad at me and called me, you Putin puppet, whatever. I heard all that stupid shit for just years. I was very forward, and it's clear now. Very clear now. Ukraine was always just a puppet for us. Always. We never cared about Ukraine. We never did. Europeans don't care about Ukraine. They never did. And it sounds horrible, but it's still true. The peace treaty, whatever that peace will be, it'll be negotiated through America and Russia. And then officially, it might be Ukraine officially, right, on the papers and the signing, maybe. But in reality, it is between America and Russia, right now between Trump and Putin. They will agree on something or they won't. That's how it's going to work. And sadly for us right now, Putin is still in a pretty good position to negotiate. And that's why Hegseth says there's not going to be Ukraine in NATO, because Putin would never accept that. And he doesn't have to accept it. He can just go, I'll just keep fighting. He'll keep fighting. And you will hear all the people who hate Putin go, his country's about to collapse. None of that's true. That is left-wing propaganda. None of that's true. He can keep fighting as long as he wants. He's an authoritarian. He will fight as long as he wants to fight. That's how that works. And he'll keep going. And for those of you that talk about, well, what about the rare earth minerals? Most of the parts that he has, Russians already control with rare earth minerals. And happening now, by the way, because check it out, I think I'm making this up. The Chinese are already figuring out how to build the infrastructure to get those rare earth minerals out so they can buy them from Russia. I'm not joking. Just do your own homework. It's happening right now. Like as we speak, the Chinese are figuring out how to get that stuff out so they could give Russia money for those rare earth minerals. Yeah, we did. Look, we got around the Chinese in Greenland. I'll give Trump credit for that. We did. We got a nice, good deal for Greenland to get a bunch of rare earth minerals. The Chinese didn't just lay down and go to bed. They went, okay, that sucked. We'll get it from Ukraine. Well, Russia, which is now taking over part of Ukraine. That's a major reason why Ukraine's not getting that land back. And you might go, that's not fair, Larry. Yeah, and I'm not saying you're wrong. And that can change anything. They're going to want to get those rare earth minerals. They're making a deal with Russia. Russia's keeping all that land. They're not giving it back. That's not going to happen. You can say it's unfair all you want. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just not going to happen. I know it's illegal war. I got to say something. And I said it before and I'll say it again. And I'm saying it now because in reality, on Breaking Points, Sagar said it. He said it. And he's right. I've been saying it. There is no such thing as an illegal war. That's not a thing. That's shit we made up. That's not a thing. There are just wars. And does might make right or not? That's the reality of our world. We can pretend, well, it's illegal. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Who's going to enforce it? As you've heard me say 1,000 times, who's going to enforce it? The UN going to enforce it? Who's going to enforce it? Might makes right. Illegal war or not, that is Russia. It's going to stay Russia. It's not going anyplace else. You can be mad about it, call it names, whatever you want. No such thing as illegal war. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. Can you enforce it or not? You can't. It's not a thing. That's how it works. If we would have said nothing and let Saddam Hussein take Kuwait, Kuwait would be a part of Iraq now. Why was it illegal? Because we enforced it. That's the reason. Because we enforced it. If someone enforces it, it changes. Otherwise, it's irrelevant. I'm sorry, I went way off on that one, Mike. But this whole thing just makes me think about it. It's a. People are upset. I get it. I want this war to end. I wanted it to end 2 years ago because it wasn't going to end well, and it's just more and more and more people dying, and the outcome is obvious. The outcome was obvious 2 years ago. And that's what people call me a Putin puppet, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, all you Putin puppet people, all you did was virtue signal while hundreds of thousands of people died. And you could feel good about yourself. I told you this was going to happen years ago. You could have just accepted it, let it go, still got the same outcome, and saved literally hundreds of thousands of lives and limbs. But I guess virtue signaling is more important to you. I guess that's good for you then. So anyway. All right, let me grab the AC. Member, thank you so much. He says, if you want to be governor of New York, run a platform of Free Luigi and say nothing else, you were in a landslide. That's funny. Here we go. Yeah, I'll say Free Luigi. I like that. I'll be like Free Ross. I'll be Free Luigi. I like that idea. All right, I got to think about it. Maybe I'll sell out and just do that too. Who knows? So, all righty. Let me grab a couple of these. Over here on our Rumble, Straight End says, Trump is working on a big picture. Gaza plan to provoke the Houthis/Iran. And again, I said that too. I'm with you, Straight End, right? A lot of people were talking about, they were worried that RFK Jr. supporters were concerned that Trump would somehow step in and, mess with RFK Jr. or something like that. And I was like, don't worry about that. Trump is not going to be concerned about domestic stuff hardly at all. What Trump has done far better this time than he did last time is he has better lieutenants and they are taking charge. You see Pam Bondi. He's not worried about that. He got Pam. Bondi's out there rocking and doing her thing. He's got Hegseth doing stuff too, but Hegseth is working with him and Rubio on the big picture stuff. I told you Trump be working on big picture and on foreign policy. Again, I know I'm doing I told you so, but I don't care. Mike gets mad at me. He's like, don't always do I told you so. I was right. I told you this is going to be a whole lot harder. He's got to focus on this because if Trump is going to have a big victory, it's probably not going to be domestically this year. This year, there's a big shot, a big chance that the economy might get really bad. Big chance it's going to happen. He needs a foreign policy victory to keep people happy. If he can make it happen, people will be impressed. They will be. Whether you like Trump or not, people will be impressed. That's for sure. So I agree with you, straight on that one completely. We have Andrea. Andrea, thank you for $2. I love pineapple on pizza. Haha, made you say it. Andrea, all right. You're a member. So maybe just like 5 years. 5 years. That's all you do. Because you're a member, you do just 5 years. It's fine. No Gitmo for you. It's fine. 5 years. House arrest. Maybe that. We'll figure something out. I'm gonna make Roy mad, and I'm gonna do a total quid pro quo on this. I am. It's true. So yes. Here we go. Matt says, Larry just reminding us how stupid our country is. Judges picking juries. Yes. Absolutely. So, see, Andrea also says she loves sausages and peppers. Me too. So I'm going to let you go because of that. Yes. So, yes. Phil goes on to say spaghetti meatballs is classic. 100%. Yes. I do like the classics. I do. That's the stuff I like. So, yes. Mashmine says, Larry just lost my vote for president. Just saying. That's it. Yeah, we got a problem. We got a problem. So, yes. Andrew says, I'm surprised you didn't say guillotine. In my youth, I might have said guillotine. I've gotten older. So no more guillotine for me now. Peace over on Rumble says, thank you for the $1, Rumble, the rant. The reason why Luigi Mangione has reached our consciousness is directly related to how we are treated as a U.S. citizen, our health, as U.S. says, our health. It's bad when we resort to violence to get our attention. So how could Luigi get the same attention without the crime? You're right. This is my point earlier. You're right. Right. Roy may be right. I don't know Luigi. Maybe he is just unhinged and a crazy guy. Yeah. But then what we should have done as a society, we should have been like, he's a horrible guy. He's a murderer. He's an assassin. Get rid of him. Throw him away. You're right. That's what we should have done as a society. But to your point, Peace, we're not. It's because of how we feel as Americans. It's because what Dow says. Dow's like, we have to have insurance. We need to have, you're more than one person say, should be a right. Americans believe this. Why? Because our system is so broken. So we'd rather have it as a right. We fall into an at least mindset, which is, at least we got some coverage. Okay, I get that. I'm not, you see, a lot of libertarians get very upset and angry when people talk about things like healthcare as a right or about single payer, all those things. I never get mad at that. I understand exactly why people want that. I get it completely. The system's garbage. You want to answer. I get it. And Democrats won't give you an answer. The far left will. As you hear me say every week, the far left will give you an answer. I don't agree with that answer, but they'll give you an answer. Democrats have no answer. Democrats just, I'm mad and Trump bad. That's their answer. The far left has an answer. They do. Make it a right. And Medicare for all. Those are answers. I know some libertarians just fell out the chair, but I'm not wrong. It's an answer. Democrats have no answer. Sadly, Republicans have no answer either, right? The idea of a plan, whatever, they don't answer either. They don't. Their answer right now so far is break everything. Break everything is their answer. Luigi, sadly to your point, Peace, had an answer too. Break everything. Kill people. Not a good answer, but an answer. When we have no answer, I say this all the time, if you're drowning and someone puts their hand out to pull you out of the water, you don't care whose hand that is. You don't care. You will grab that hand. And that's how a lot of Americans think. So, Silver Charm over on Rumble says, maybe because Ukraine bombed the Russian ethnic since 2014 and the history of 30 million Russians dead from border fights in World War I. Sorry, World War II. There's a lot of stuff going on there, to be forward with you, Silver Charm. I don't know the details of it, to be forward. I don't know the details of all the things. There's so many of those things. But yeah, lots of issues there. And whether you think this war is illegal or not, it doesn't matter. Who's going to enforce it? The Germans aren't gonna. The Russians aren't gonna. No one's going to enforce it. So that's how it works. Yeah, absolutely. So Pete says, I want spaghetti right now. I know you guys are making me hungry with this stuff. You guys are making me hungry. So yes, that's good. All right, let me grab some more of these if I could. Did I grab all of these? I did grab that one and I grabbed that one. Make sure I grabbed all of those. Let me see. I'll grab that one. Okay, I'm trying to grab as many as I can. Jared says, those who make peaceful reforms impossible make violence inevitable. Yes. Yes. Accurate. Accurate. This is the point you hear me say all the time. Yes. Ryan goes on to say, desperate people do desperate things. Also, desperate times call for desperate measures. Well, not always, but people believe that, right? And this goes back to Roy's point. People believe this desperate measure is the right answer. I'm not saying it is the right answer. I'm saying, to your point, Ryan, people say, I got nothing, I'll take it. I will accept it. I'll accept it. Yes. Kim was on to say, the system is so broken, it has to be rebuilt, not propped up again. Propping up days are over, as it should have been for decades. A lot of people would agree with you, Kim. Literally tens of millions of people agree. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. I completely agree with that concept. Yes. All righty. Shan says, this is a result of not giving Vicodin to people with back pain. Not sure that's true, but I get your point. I do get your point. Absolutely. I do understand what you're saying there. 100%. All right. Alexa says, if he gets off and make others more comfortable to do similar acts and think it's okay. I don't know. I don't know. I think it depends, because the next thing, again, if he actually gets off, and if it's federal, I can't see it. If it's state, maybe. If he actually gets off, I think the system may double down and make everything harder. And what I mean by that, they'll make it to where almost no one can, because they'll go into a preventative mode of arresting people who even say, like, they'll start looking at your even harder. They're doing it now. They're looking even harder at your social media. And the second that you go, I'm so mad about this, they'll arrest you. I wish I was joking. Right? I wish I was joking. Yes, they'll do stuff just like that. So, yeah. Phil says, if this is a New York City jury pool, he's a 50-50 chance. That is my point. That is my point. That's why they want it to be federal, because that goes down to 99-1 against, right? That's what happens. That's exactly my point. Yes, exactly my point. Yes. All righty. There are so many of these comments. I can't grab them all. I appreciate so many of these. So yes. Ryan says, Larry, how many seats does the AFD win next week in the general election? All right. I think this goes back to my point, Ryan. I know you're thinking the same way. For those who don't know, the AFD is the Alternative for Deutschland, is the far right, right and far right, both. There's right wing and far right in that party, both of them in that party in Germany. And they shouldn't, they are, but they shouldn't be a real thing in Germany, right? You shouldn't want to go back to the days of the guy with the funny mustache. You shouldn't. But again, a lot of Germans are desperate. So this is open. I do not think they will get maximum at all. I think the other parties will create a coalition and make them very weak. I think AFD is not going to do well next week. I think AFD is going to lose due to a coalition. They may gain 25%, 30%, maybe. I could see that. But then immediately a coalition will go against them and they'll get pushed out to have almost no power. That's my guess. I don't see any of the other parties in any way wanting to join with the AFD. The AFD will have to on its own get 51% of Germans to vote for it. Now, can they? Not now. Germany's not there. Is Germany on its way? But even when it was the man with the funny mustache, they never got more than 30% of the German popular vote. It was through procedure that he was able to take over the country, not through voting, through procedure. It was legal. He took over legally. He did, but it was through procedure. At its height, only half of the German population were members of the party, and that's when there were no other parties. When they had outlawed all the parties, half of Germans still weren't part of it. The highest, the N-word party. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble on YouTube. The N-word party, not that N-word, the other N-word, the German one. The highest they ever had, and when they had outlawed all the parties, was only 50%. Prior to outlawing the party, they never got about more than 30%. I can't see the AFD getting past that. least not now. So I think the AFD actually will maybe get 30%, 25% in that area, would be my guess, and then get slaughtered by a coalition government of all the other parties that will just get all together and go, all right, we don't want you, so we'll trash you. They are going to have to fight to get 51% of the German population, which if they do that, it'll be at least another year before that happens. If they do that, Europe will change forever. It'll be a massive change. The entire European Union will collapse. There will not be a European Union. I don't doubt if NATO will collapse. NATO might collapse. EU might collapse. Because if you don't have Germany at the center, the Brits are already walking away from this stuff. So I can't imagine the EU existing as we see it now, or NATO existing as we see it now. Trump will leave NATO. The Germans will leave NATO. The Germans will leave the EU. It'll all go away. So yeah, absolutely, that will happen. So, all right. Mastermind says Trump has already talked to Putin, where Biden hasn't been to Putin for 3 years. Yeah, well, because Biden did something stupid. Biden immediately said, hey, he's a killer. Well, why would you say that? You're virtue signaling when you want to have peace. That's dumb. And Biden, that was stupid that Biden did that. He should have never done that. Even other people didn't want to do that. He did that. It was dumb. So yes. Christine goes on and says, Ukraine is the money laundering capital of the world. Yes, that is absolutely true. There's a lot of corruption in Ukraine. And I mean, this is the reason why I don't see it going away, because it is just so corrupt. So corrupt. So we'll see if what happens there. I agree with you. So Phil says, I'm afraid the Azov will be like the IRA and get involved in international conflict. Well, this is the other piece. The other piece I want to bring up here is once this war is over, and I brought this up before, once this war is over, you are going to find so many mercenaries, just so many mercenaries. It's crazy how many mercenaries are going to be popping out there. Ukrainian, Azov, Russians, everywhere. This is one of the reasons why you do want to make it to where when this war ends, a bunch of the wars are already running around. You're going to find them in Africa, all those things. You will see that. So, yes. Dahl says, making all private insurance nonprofits is not state control or more regulation. In Germany, citizens choose between government or private nonprofit insurance. That's all there is. Lower cost for all. Yeah, I do think you could do that. I think you could. My concern is maybe I read it wrong. What I read was you wanted it to be a right for people. That's what I read it. Maybe I misread you. Am I against having healthcare for everybody? Not at all. I think we all should have it. 100%. I think we should all have it. My concern is, does the government force it? Right? That's the issue. Does the government force it? That is and I don't want the government to force it at all. I'm hoping that we don't. So thank you for that. All right. Let's see here. Fair is where you eat corn dogs and throw darts at balloons. That is a fair. That you're not wrong. That is a fair. So yes. All righty. Shelly says, I'm late, but Pam Bondi is arresting Hochul and James, also head of DMV. She's not arresting them. She is suing them. I don't think she's going to arrest them. I don't think she's going to arrest them. I don't see it at all. I do not see that at all. Maybe. I don't see it at all. So yeah. All right. Mastermind says, I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around Luigi carrying his pew-pew and his manifesto to McDonald's 3 days later. See, this is why I'm saying I am open to the idea of the government lying and something else happening. I'm not saying that happened. I'm open to hearing it. That's all I'm saying. I'm open to it. It is possible. That's all I'm saying. It is possible. So, yes. Let's see if I can go down here. Cheyenne says, I thought a person that deleted the CEO would have lost a wife or child. This is a valid point, Cheyenne. And this kind of goes to where I think Roy's probably correct on this. I think Roy's correct. I think Luigi is probably in some way, shape, or form deranged or broken or something like that. Because he shouldn't be so angry, right? He shouldn't be. I think now, if they had, I don't know, to your point, if he had lost his his wife or lost his child and he was so distraught, or I'm not saying be right, but at least to your point, Shannon, you and I can understand that. We can at least get it, right? We can go, oh, okay, yeah, at least that makes sense, right? I could get that. At least that makes sense. This, not sure, right? Not sure. So, let's see here. Ryan says, Larry, 51% is a tall order as within their system. Agreed, which is why I think they won't do it. I agree with you, which is why I think they won't do it, Ryan. I think the odds of them making that happen are slim. And that's my point. If they actually do it, it will change all of Europe. Like that, it will change all of Europe. If 51% of the German voting population shows up and says, we want the Alternative for Deutschland, if they actually do that, if that happens, Germany is on its own. Like, it is not part of Europe anymore. Like, that's it. They're their own nation. Yeah, it's all different, right? Everything changes. The Brits will walk away. The French will probably try to take over. They cannot in any way, shape, or form, but they'll try because they're French. They will try. They will fail. The country that will probably benefit the most from that, it's going to sound odd, but if it happens, will be the Poles. Poland will. Because Poland is on the way to try to grow and get better and stronger. They will grow from that because a lot of Eastern Europe will not look to Germany. Eastern Europe will look to Poland. Western Europe will try to look to France. Germany will be on its own. The EU will collapse. NATO will collapse. You are correct. That's why I'm saying I don't think it's going to happen next time. I don't see it. So, but that's the piece. So, hope that part is clear. All right. Let me grab some more of these if I can. Mastermind says temporary insanity. Again, you can only do insanity if the judge allows it. I'm not joking. You can only do insanity if the judge allows it. You can't just decide you're going to have an insanity plea. The judge decides if they think it's okay or not. You might say, Larry, that makes no sense. No, it's how it works. Yeah, it is actually how it works. So Straight Ann over on Rumble says, Tulsi Gabbard probably likes Hawaiian pizza. Just saying, be careful, Larry. And I've said it before. If you're like from a place where they grow, pineapples like Hawaii, I'll let you slide. Let's just slide. Yes, I will let you slide. Absolutely. I will let you slide. So, Peace over on Rumble says, I'll think about $100. Peace, you are the best. I encourage everyone to join Rumble. You can say S and F, not that necessarily to make your point, but there are times when it's appropriate to interject and expletive. Yes, I agree. Sometimes you want to interject an expletive. That is accurate. I do so sometimes, right? And he then goes on to say, Larry is effing, he says the word though, often, awesome. And that is on Rumble. It's true. And Rumble's growing. We're at over 300 people on Rumble, which is nice now. I love that. We are growing more and more. Maybe I can do some actual time just on Rumble and I can say whatever I want. That is something nice. I do like that. So, yes, there we go. Peace is correct. Thank you, Peace, for that. I appreciate that tremendously. That is great. Thank you. Let me, I'm going to grab, Jamie says, who is going to hold the healthcare industry accountable? You cannot sue pharmaceutical companies for vaxes. Yes, that is accurate. And here's the issue, right? We do have to fix this. This does have to be repaired. My hope is that because of that, we'll start fixing things. I think if Dow is talking about making to where it's a privatized system, or there's where there is maybe a public option or something like that, I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with this at all. I think we absolutely can make it work. It's totally doable. We can create a system. One of the reasons why, and some of you will be upset because some of you love the guy I'm going to hammer right now. The biggest reason why our healthcare is trashed is because of FDR. FDR was a terrible president in so many ways, and this is one of his reasons. Price controls. That was his idea. Price controls destroyed everything, right? I have to make sure that's why it got linked directly to businesses and corporations versus getting linked to anything else it could have got linked to, right? That was the reason. It was because of that. So we have to fix that entire thing. And now we assume it's the way it is. It is, yeah. Cheyenne says the judge may allow temporary insanity if they've had back pain. In theory, that's true, Cheyenne. I think you're right. If this is a state issue, yes. Federal, nope. I know a guy in a federal case had a brain tumor, had an operation, literally to remove a brain tumor. Judge would not allow insanity. Yes, would not allow temporary insanity. Guy had a brain tumor. He had something pushing on his brain physically. Something pushing on his brain physically. Evidence of it. Got the actual, thing. Got it removed. We're gonna do it. It's federal. That's the point, Shannon. If it is not federal, maybe. If it's state, maybe. Federal, no way. Because again, his crime is sacrilege. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. It is sacrilege. That's the piece. So yeah, Cheyenne says maybe it just had a brain tumor. Ryan, it's not a tumor. But that was a tumor. It was, literally it was, and did not matter. So I get your point, Cheyenne, and I think if it's state, you're probably right. If it's not, I don't see it. I find a hard time seeing that as true. That's my only issue. So yeah. As he says, what's the censorship situation in Germany? If censorship is infringing, I something like that party rising. Censorship in Germany is legal. It's legal. If you notice, that party uses the colors of the old German Empire. The imperial German colors are red, white, and black. Modern day German colors are red, black, and gold, as you see right here. Imperial Germany, when it became fascist Germany, I'll say that, kept the same colors. If you notice the colors that the Germans used for their funny cross they used, I'll say that funny cross they used was red, white, and black, which were traditional German colors of the German Empire. They kept the same colors. The AfD uses those colors. They use the colors of the German Empire. So they cannot use that funny crooked cross. That's against the law. In fact, they can't say certain things, but they say lots of things. Like in Germany, it is against the law to say alles für Deutschland, which means all for Germany. That's against the law. If you say that, you can go to jail for that. If you fly up the cross, you can go to jail for that. You cannot say that. That's against the law. That's a censorship. That's how it works. And most Germans are okay with it. They're like, it's what happens. But the leader of the AfD, her name is Alice. I'm not joking. So they get around it by saying alles für Deutschland, which is almost the same as alles für Deutschland. So they say that instead. And that is legal because it's saying her for Germany, not all for Germany. So there is a whole lot of censorship. They just recently allowed you to buy, if you remember, the H-Man wrote a book translated into English, which is called My Struggle. You know what the actual name is. I don't want to say it because I'll get canceled for saying it, but you know what the name of it is. And that was against the law in Germany. Now you can buy that book. It is legal in Germany now to buy that book, but the book must have details on editorial comments, right? That the government has agreed, right? So historians have editorial comments in it. You can purchase it now. You could not in the past, as long as it has the editorial comments on every page of it. So you can do it in Germany. So there is a lot of censorship in Germany. And I get it. I understand why they did that. I get it. I don't like it because I hate censorship, but that's how it works. So I don't think that most Germans will be upset about this because most Germans accept this. They're like, I get it. It's fine. Most Germans are not mad about that. So yeah, I hope that makes sense at least. So, alrighty. Ryan says the H-Man. What do you want me to say? I mean, if I say the word, then all of a sudden YouTube decides that, look, you guys want to say words like that? I can on Rumble. Or you guys can click the button known as like. You can do the like button. It does matter. Do the like button, and more people see this, and I don't get banned as much. You don't like the like button? That's okay. Share this, repost this, subscribe, follow me. All those things matter, right? Subscribe, do all those things. It doesn't matter. Help me out by doing that, and we'll see. Things will be better. So you could do that instead. Otherwise, yeah, I could be in some trouble. So yeah. All righty. Let's see here. If I can grab some more of these. Mastermind Hour says, Luigi leaving the scene on a Citibank throwing banana peels and turtle shells is circumstantial evidence. It's actually funny. Yes. But look, look, it does look bad. It looks like Luigi did it. And fine, put him away for that. But I'm always open to the idea that the government's lying in some way, shape, or form. So if I was on that jury, I'm open to the idea. Show me something. Show me that the government made this up. Show me that the government lied. Show me this thing, right? Whatever. Show it to me if it's true. I don't know what kind of defense they're going to be able to deal with. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes federal that they plea. I wouldn't be surprised, right? If this goes federal, they might plea. I don't know how you win this in a federal case. I don't know how. Unless the judge literally decides like, well, I'll let you pick the jury. I don't know why you have to do that. Or I'll let you have any defense you want. I don't know why they would do that. But if a judge does any of those things, maybe. I do not see a federal judge doing that. Look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he gets a fair trial. And if they're lying, it comes out. That'd be awesome, right? I hope that's true. But I don't know. If he goes federal, he's guilty. I mean, he's done for. I would not be surprised if this actually goes federal, they just plea. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, to be forward, there's a lot of cash involved. And the judge and the lawyers might say, look, let's get all the cash we can get. A lot of cash here. They might be that way. I don't know the lawyers. That's possible. The other thing is his parents may be in denial. His parents may think, no, they'll let my kid go. They'll get it. Because most people don't know how the system is completely set up. I'll go one more thing I'll bring up. Many don't know. In a regular state court, right? Regular state court, at the end, what happens is you give your the government gives its final, this is why we think he's a bad guy and did it. Here's our final summation. Here it is. And then you give your final summation. No, this is why he didn't do it, or the circumstance, whatever, but boom, done. That's how that works. Okay, fair. Both sides get to say their thing. Now federal goes, government goes, then you go, then the federal gets to rebut you. You get to rebut the government? No. The feds rebut you. You don't get to rebut them. So the jury hears the feds first and last. You're in the middle. I'm not making that up. That's how that works. Yeah. So federal, why did the feds win everything? They put 45,000 charges on you. They pick the jury and they go first and last, and the judge decides what defense you can do. Of course they win. Of course they win. His parents don't know that. Most of you didn't know that until I told you that. Most of you don't know that. I didn't know until I went through and watched it and went, this can't be real. This cannot be real. This someone's teasing. This is all a big prank, and the camera's going to come out and say, ha ha, Larry, got you. No, that didn't happen. No, I just watched innocent people go to jail with no chance of success whatsoever. None. Zero chance of success. I thought it had to be a prank. It's not. It's how it works. If any of you been in federal court, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Everything I've just said is true. I wouldn't just make that up. You would know that. So, yeah, that's how that works. So, any case, we'll see we'll see what happens on that one. I hope that they at least get just a fair trial. That's all I'm saying. I hope they get a fair trial. So, Cheyenne says, I didn't know the judge pick a jury. Yeah, in federal, not state courts. Not state courts, federal. They decide. Yeah, I'm going to pick a jury. What? Yeah. And supposedly, Cheyenne, we're supposed to be a jury of our peers. Who decides that? The judge decides who our peers are. What could go wrong? What could go wrong with a judge deciding that? Yes. Ryan says, pineapples on pizza will put me in the funny farm. Yes, Ryan. For $2? Yeah, but you remember too. I gotta be good. You guys remember. I gotta do quid pro quo so Roy can be mad at me, right? I gotta go do that. So yes. So he says, how did the case become federal? Okay. For those who don't know, what they'll do is they will decide any way they can to make something federal whenever they want to. And here are the ways they'll do it. One, did he cross state lines at all? At all? Yes, he did. He went to Pennsylvania, crossed state lines, federal. Did Pennsylvania charge with anything? Did. 2 states charged him, federal. Yes. I'll go one step further. This is a true story. I was on this case. True story. A guy used a cell phone. Yes, used a cell phone. Why does that matter? The crime he committed was in New York City. He never left New York City. Everyone he dealt with was in New York City. They never left New York City. Never left New York City. None of them. No one involved in this crime, wasn't a crime, left New York City. So what he did in New York City was actually legal. It wasn't legal federally. So they wanted to get this guy. How do you get him? You charge him federally. How? He didn't leave anything. And Mastermind Hour knows he hit it perfectly. He pinged off a New Jersey tower. You did know this, yes. Now, they don't even know if he did. They have no evidence that he pinged off a New Jersey tower. It actually might have been a Connecticut tower. They don't know, but he might have pinged a Connecticut or a Jersey tower. So because of that, they charged him federally for a crime that is not a crime locally. Yes. So you ask how they become federal, Shelley? Because they want it to be. That's how they do it. They just want it to be. So they make it that. Yes. Yes. So Roy says criminal defendants get many protections, constitution otherwise, in federal court, and guilt must be unanimous. Okay, 2 things. No, they don't. That's absolutely not true. They don't. They get almost no protections. The judges change their mind all the time, change things all the time. They make it so hard that many times the individual defendant actually voluntarily surrenders their protections because they make it so hard to keep them. Yes, in federal court. Next piece. Yes, this must be unanimous. So what? They make a system to where everyone says yes. Of course. That's why they make it so difficult. Of course. That's why yes. The federal government is what, 98%, 99%, something like that? Yeah. IRS is 99.75. Conviction rate, 99.75. Now I'm lucky. I'm the 0.25. I actually beat the IRS once. So yes. So I'm the 0.75, 0.25. I beat the IRS once. Not me, my team. Not me. I wish it was me. It'd be great if it was just me. But my team did. Yes. Once. So yeah. The amount of issue that they deal with is insane. Right? And you go, well, they have protections. Great. But if I'm picking the jury, Roy, I don't care what protections you got. I'm picking the jury. Your protections mean nothing. What does that matter? I'm picking the jury. Your protections. I decide what kind of defense you can pick. I decide. I don't give a shit what your protections are. I'm deciding what you can say. I care what your protections are. Doesn't matter. Absolutely true. Yeah. I get what you're saying, but it doesn't matter. It's like, it sounds good. What I hear all the time, I love a lot of lawyers who tell me this. Larry, you don't understand something. The burden of proof is very high. That's someone who's never done a criminal case. The burden of proof is not high at all. It's not even close. The burden of proof is you showed up in that chair. You're guilty. That's it. I literally had a prosecutor say out loud, he's innocent until proven broke. So yeah, that's not how that works. I get the idea that they tell you in law school, all this stuff. No, none of that shit's real. None of that shit's real. So yes, Kim goes, no free speech in the courtroom. Also true. Yeah, no free speech in the courtroom. I'll go one. Royce's protection. Literally, judges very often put gag orders on the defendant. He can't say things. There's no free speech, goes away. Can't say what you want. Not just that, Kim, you say in the courtroom, outside the courtroom. They did it with Trump too. You can't say up anything about the case outside, right? Defendant. Well, what about the prosecutor? They talk all day long. They have press conferences and say how bad the person is. But the defendant can't say what they want to say, can't defend themselves. That's the norm. That's the norm. They say, no, you can't talk. So you can't go outside and talk. But why does that matter? Because the jurors watch TV when they go home. And what they'll tell you is the jurors aren't allowed to do that. Shut up. They all do it. I was a juror more than once. I've been on 2 juries. We all talked about it. Well, the jurors, they can't talk about the case. We all did. If you've been a jury, you know you did. You all do. You go home and watch TV. You go home and see stuff. So you go home and you watch the prosecutor who gets interviewed that day and says, and we showed him how evil he is and he's so bad he killed, and they show the victim and they show whatever and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, the defendant can't say a word or they go to jail. Yeah. That's how I say everyone's against you. I hear all the time. Yeah. Oh, okay. Roy says, I'm sorry. He says the prosecutor must also go to the grand jury before charging. Grand jury's a goddamn joke, and you know it is. Come on, Roy. Come on. What's the old saying? They can indict a ham sandwich. Remember that saying? That saying is there for a reason. That's what. For those who don't know, you get charged. That's how it works. You get charged. Once you get charged, the question is, will you go to trial? And that's a grand jury. A grand jury decides if there's enough evidence for a trial. In theory, what's supposed to happen is a grand jury could look at it and go, this is not a real thing. We're done. No, this guy shouldn't go to jail. This guy shouldn't even go to court. Throw this thing out. That's in theory. Never happens. Come on. When is it? Okay, this happened. It happens when it's a cop. When a cop is charged, sometimes grand juries go no. But there's that saying, you can indict a ham sandwich. That's an actual saying, well, you know it is, because grand juries just literally go right out. So once that happens, once the grand jury goes, okay, because grand juries just do that. Grand juries are bobbleheads. Okay. The guy says someone's bad, and the jury goes, yes. Now, why would they do that? Because at a grand jury, what do they do, Roy? They put a list of 75 freaking things. They overcharge. And the judge tells them, if you think he's guilty of what could be, if you think there's a probable cause for any of those, you have to vote yes. And they go, it's 25 charges. He probably did something wrong. Boom, he's gone. Now they just did one, just the murder or just the robbery, which is a real crime. The other things aren't actual crimes. That, the person goes, oh, no, there's no probable cause for that. No, it might happen. Those days are long gone. Long gone. So jury selection does not involve both parties in federal. It doesn't. And what do you mean by involve? Okay, it does involve. Let me explain how this works for involve. Roy says it involves. It does. Here's how it involves. The judge asks both parties, I'm not joking, hey, what do you think? I should ask them. That's what it means. So the judge says, hey, defense attorney, can you give me what you think I should ask? Here's all my list. I know I've done this. I put lists together. Like I know how it works. I ask, say these things, and the judge can decide, yeah or no. Some disagree, some don't. But the judge still asks, right? And the judge still decides. So when I hear something, if it's state, I hear something, I go, oh, I want him off. I want him on. The judge hears it and goes, oh, I want him off for the opposite reason. So even if he listens to what I say, which he or she doesn't have to, but if they do listen, they ask the questions. So you might go, they're involved. True, they're involved. The judge asks the defendants, what do you think I should ask them? I give my opinions. You should ask them these questions. The judge can decide to use it or not. And then after that's done, the judge will then decide whether it's yes or no. So I might hear something and go, oh, no, I don't want that. For example, if I've got a case with someone who's been in trouble, I might ask a question. The question I might want to ask is, do you have someone close to you who's had an addiction problem? Right? That's the question I might want them to ask. Does someone close to you have an addiction problem? The person might go, yes. I want that juror. He doesn't. So he'll hear yes and throw them out. Like, no, that's the one I want. I want the one who's going to have an emotion or connection to an addict, who's going to understand what they're feeling, what they're thinking. I may want that juror. who actually is human and has some feelings. I may want that. Or I may ask the opposite. Do you have someone close to you who's in law enforcement? And she'll go, yes, my husband. He'll go, good. I'm like, no, that person's going to put my guy away forever. I got no shot at that. So yes, involved, but not in a way that makes any sense. Not in a way that actually helps. So that's what actually happens. And I'm sorry, I'm giving you some inside information. This is what I do. Like, this is why I get so angry. It's why I get so triggered. Because so many people think it's actually fair. It's not even close to fair. Not even close. It is so unfair that when most people hear it, they can't believe it. They think I'm wrong. They think I'm making it up. All I'm saying is just do some cases. If you care, be a consultant, be a legal secretary, help out a lawyer who's doing that, and you will be in a federal case. You're like, I can't believe Larry's right in everything he just said. I can't believe it. Kitty says, Larry, how do we fix a broken justice system as individuals or as a country? Individually, we cannot. We're just screwed. There is no way of fixing an individual. You must be an executive to fix it. That's the only answer. You must be an executive to fix it. That's the answer. Executive. Why do you think I keep running for governor? Executives can fix this. You see Trump right now trying to fix it. Only executives can fix this. No one else can. That's the issue. Only executives can fix it. No one else can. The system has gone so far down a rabbit hole that the system itself can't fix itself anymore. It cannot be fixed anymore. It is impossible. It's impossible. I've been talking about this for years. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So yes. Phil says they can indict a ham sandwich. Now that's not kosher. True, not kosher, and they can still do it. Yes. Kim goes on to say that gives the media the power of guilty by public opinion. Yes. Yes. Ingrid says, what's the purpose of this kind of corruption in the court system? To support the system, Ingrid. Our system is made to support itself. You and I do not matter. You and I do not matter. We are unimportant. I never forget this. When I read this, I forgot where I read this, but I did read this. No. Actually, I saw a video. I read it, then I didn't believe it and saw a video. I think it was Illinois. It was literally lawyers saying that they should not let innocent people out of jail. That it's not a good idea to let innocent people out of jail. And why? Because it will, I'm not joking, because it will break confidence in the system. They were arguing to keep innocent people in jail because the system. And you would think, well, that was immediately laughed out. No, they almost won that. Yeah, they almost won that. They didn't, luckily, but they almost won that. I'm going to give you one more piece. One more piece you may not know. Do you know there is no requirement for a DA, prosecutor, federal or not, that if they find out that the person they put away was innocent, there is no requirement of them to let that person know and to get them out of jail. No requirement. None. They don't have to. Now, can they? Yes. Do they? Usually no. I'm not joking. Do your homework on that. Usually no. One person didn't was a woman named Kamala Harris. She didn't either. She didn't let people out when she found out information that they were innocent. Not required to. I will say it again. Not required to. They should be required if they find out information that the person is innocent, they pull them out of prison. Not required. They don't have to. Not just that. They can now go after the second person they found out and put them in jail too. Yes. Andrea says, yes, it was Illinois. Yes, it was. It was Illinois when that happened. Thank you, Andrea. You remember it. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. Again, I'm not making this up, guys. I'm saying it live. You can check it yourself. Literally, judges, they were going there going, hey, don't let them out because the system. What are you doing? The system matters far more than innocent people. You poors don't matter. The system matters. I know I keep saying it because it's true. Because it's true. So, and I've yapped away, guys. Guys, do me a favor. Please click the like button. It does matter. I hope this AMA was fun. I got a bit triggered over this because this piece does bother me tremendously. It really does. I've been through it so much. And it bothers me when I watch innocent people go to jail and nobody seems to care. English says, wow, to support the system. That's so effed. Yes, it's why I hate the system. It's why you hear me rail against the system so much. It doesn't care at all. Our criminal justice system is a despair meat grinder. That's what it is. It is a meat grinder of despair. It just destroys people's lives and people don't care. Because some say, well, you're all criminals. You're all criminals. They're not all criminals. Many of them are, but not all of them are. And more importantly, when you get hammered 14 times more than you deserve, how is that fair? Right? How is that fair? And this country was built on the idea, better an innocent man go free. I'm sorry, better a guilty man go free than an innocent man be in prison and lose his liberty. We've forgotten that. That's no longer us. Now it's lock them all up. Lock them all up. That's the issue. I'm against that. It's too much of a libertarian in me. Any case, I'll let you all run, guys. I will not be on tomorrow, but I will be on Monday. I will be on Monday. President's Day. I'll talk about something cool about presidents, I guess. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Do me a small favor if you would. Please, in the chat, once we're done, put in a law that you think is a BS law. I would love to see that. I know I've been better. I've been better recently responding to your stuff because I've got off my case now, so I have more time. I will respond. Please tell me what is a BS law. I will see you all very soon.